Hi everyone, this is Mark Buckles for New Mexico State University, Carlsbad. This VoiceThread PowerPoint presents ideas on culture in communication, with an emphasis on cultural perspective, cultural orientation, context, power structure, masculinity, femininity, ambiguity tolerance, and long and short-term orientation. Among the goals in Learning Module 5 are to learn about culture's role in human communication and to learn to send and receive messages with a recognition of cultural influences and differences. So, culture is the specialized lifestyle of a group of people, their values, beliefs, artifacts, behaviors, and the ways of thinking passed from one generation to another through enculturation, a process by which the above is transmitted. On the other hand, acculturation refers to the process by which we learn the rules and norms of a culture different from our own. The importance of cultural sensitivity and competence in our communications grows daily because of the demographic changes in countries, an increasing economic interdependency, and the advances in communication technologies. Our aim is to develop cultural perspective, a perspective that will help us understand the spectrum of acceptable communication and allow us to effectively communicate with persons culturally different than ourselves. Cultural perspective needs to influence communication of all types and allow us to distinguish what is universal from what is relative. Some cultures are characterized as individualist. These cultures confirm individual goals, high competition resulting in success by surpassing others. These cultures have leaders and followers and hold the individual responsible. Individualist cultures put an inflection on power, achievement, hedonism, and stimulation. The United States is seen as an example of this kind of culture. Some cultures are characterized as collectivist cultures. These cultures confirm cooperation and group goals. The individual has a responsibility to the entire group, and leadership is shared or rotated. China is seen as an example of a collectivist culture. Collectivist cultures are characterized as high-context cultures. Information is known by all participants, but is not explicitly stated in verbal messages. Such cultures place emphasis on personal relationships, on oral communication, and on face-saving. Examples of high-context cultures are the Japanese, Arabic, and Latin American cultures, including Mexican. Individualist cultures are characterized as low-context cultures. Information in these cultures is explicitly stated and often written. Such cultures place less emphasis on personal relationships. Examples of low-context cultures are the German, Scandinavian, and American cultures. In high-power distance cultures, power is concentrated in the hands of a few, and a great difference exists between the power of these few and that of the ordinary citizen. In low-power distance cultures, power is more evenly distributed throughout the citizenry. Friendship and dating are influenced by the power distance between groups and oftentimes are determined by class. Also, confrontation is influenced by power distances. In a low-power distance culture, confronting another assertively is expected. Masculine cultures value material success and strength. People in these cultures are socialized to be assertive, ambitious, and competitive. These cultures stress the bottom line and competitiveness and aggressiveness are rewarded. Feminine cultures value modesty, quality of life, and tenderness. These cultures emphasize worker satisfaction and use compromise and negotiation to establish direction. Some cultures are described as high tolerant ambiguity cultures. These cultures tolerate uncertainty and thus welcome change, encourage cultural difference, and minimize the rules of communication. On the other hand, low ambiguity tolerant cultures seek to avoid uncertainty. These cultures prefer highly structured experiences to reduce anxiety and adhere to strict communication rules. Long-term orientation cultures promote the importance of future rewards. Marriage is regarded as practical and emotional, and humility is seen as a virtue. Currently, the United States ranks 69th out of 93 countries, making it less long-term than most countries. Short-term orientation cultures focus on the past. They regard marriage as a moral agreement between parties. Organizations in these cultures look to immediate rewards and regard humility as a virtue only for women. Cultures of indulgence emphasize the gratification of desires. They focus on fun and enjoying life and exude optimism. More people in an indulgence culture exhibit happiness based on two factors: life control and leisure. Cultures of restraint foster the regulation of gratification. They value thrift and evince more cynicism and pessimism than indulgence cultures. Restraint cultures have more people who are unhappy. People in a restraint culture place minimal importance on friendship. We need to recognize our own ethnocentrism, the tendency to see others and their behaviors through our own cultural filters. We need to recognize our own ethnic identity, the commitment to the beliefs and philosophy of our own culture, and acknowledge other identities. Effective intercultural communication begins when we recognize and reduce ethnocentrism. This recognition allows us to adjust our communication by confronting stereotypes, increasing mindfulness, avoiding over-attribution, and seeing people for who they are by recognizing differences. This concludes Learning Module 5's PowerPoint lecture on culture and communication. Next time, we'll consider the importance of listening in human communication.